We live in a system where our government now relies on private equity to launch new innovations, trusting these people won't deny innovation to protect their investments. So, welcome back to another episode of Dump City here. We've got a special theme for the show. You'll notice there's a bit of a prop here on the side. The camera's not quite straight. Thought I'd do something a little different here. We're going to talk about inventions and innovations in this episode. Um, I've mentioned it before in previous episodes, but I am actually an inventor. That's what I think makes me a little unusual as a streamer here, having this background, uh, having invented things in the past. And I've gone through the whole process. So this thing here is something I call the smart wind. Just do this for a few minutes. This is just probably not many of you have seen like an actual invention. A lot of things you'll see on the market today are usually 10 to 20 years behind where a patent gets created. So something that was just released last year, if you go into the USPTO database, you'll find that it was probably developed in the early 2000s. So, and there's a it's one of the most fascinating things you can do. If you ever want to see if you ever want to get crazy ideas of innovative stuff, just comb the U.S. patent database. It's kind of like the world standard for databases because I believe it's the original one too. Like even things like toilet paper, just basic things. Like toilet paper is engineered to degrade with water. That's why you can't put like paper towels in a toilet. So this thing here is like a device that I invented that you put in a um, your wall, and it kind of automatically. See, I can control it with my uh, phone here. Um, yeah, it's actually was on low volume, but now it's a little higher. Now that I changed the fan speed on it, but what it does is It's using the internet to actually read weather conditions and communicates with local sensors to determine the difference in air temperature. And then this valve will open and close, so it basically creates an insulating pocket in your wall, far more insulated than your window. And it just automatically does that. It's a bit of a numbers hack. It looks at weather conditions, and I've run simulations on this. I've determined that the ROI on it is similar to that of a solar panel in most markets. Um, so it has good economic value. It's on my website and stuff. This is an actual patent. See, that's what an actual. Oops, I bumped the mic. I might have to. So that's what an actual patent looks like. I have tons of market info. I spent like half a year conducting interviews at the behest of like a business incubator, things they suggested I do to get like prove the demand for it. So, I compared it with other things on the market. I actually paid a guy for uh, a third of a year just to do all that market research. So it has good scientific merit. It actually works. My phone can control it. Like the software in the device works, the software in the phone works. I got the electronics working. I got this stuff working. But to go to the next stage requires capital. And pitching this to numerous organizations, um, the over half of them will restrict lending capital if you do not generate revenues to begin with. So think about that. Why do they have this policy? You know, like if I need the money to generate the revenues, how am I going to get the money if your criteria is that I generate revenues in the first place? And it's like even there was a Google incubator that rejected it based on this principle. They said your MRR is too low. And I'm like, what do you mean? How am I supposed to get started? And a lot of them will just outright say, like, we want you to find capital outside of our incubator. I'm like, then what does your incubator do? Right? If I've already created the product, I've got the patent, I've done the research, if I've done literally everything, and the only thing I need to do is to go to market, what does a business incubator actually do then if they don't provide capital? Right? I think they might steal ideas, but lucky for me, I got a patent on it. Um, yeah, and in terms of the number of people who've inquired about the capabilities of this machine, it's also uh, touchscreen operated too. Like I can actually adjust, like creating touchscreen drivers like this. I'll turn it up so like this. How you know it's working? You can hear the fan go on and off. It filters itself out in the microphone. But I created custom touchscreen drivers. Okay, like this is not. Oh darn! I had actually a sample circuit board that I wanted to show you, but I think this demo is going on long enough here. You get the gist of it, and you get the the explanation of this hasn't been funded. I spent like 5 to 7 years full time on this, prior to that, I'd spent 5 years full time developing other things before I came up with this obvious winner on the market. But because I'm not rich, it gets ignored. And that's kind of how it works in society. They kind of, when you go to an incubator, they kind of expect you to be rich in the first place. Most of the people I saw in those things were like they were reasonably affluent people. I don't like, I guess it's for promotional purposes too. That's why they go through them. Just another, that's why I keep my videos on Twitch and YouTube, and I'll probably put it on some other platforms too. It's just to be out there, I guess. But innovation is most certainly, like my original intro statement says it all, that you shouldn't let other people who have a vested interest in denying innovation choose whether innovation happens or not. That makes no sense. It's just like if you're wondering why the US and most of the Western nations are falling behind China and the more socialized nations, um, that would be one of the reasons. Just this principle, like you got to fix the policies, right? That would explain why things are falling behind.